after Brian Norman Jr. gets the highlight reel knockout of Giovanni Santillan, it makes Brian Norman Jr. the WBO interim title holder, which lines him up to fight for the WBO title. Um, the WBO title though is still held by Terrence Crawford at welterweight. So everybody we're assuming he gonna let those belts go because Bud is not going back down to welterweight. So who's gonna be the next in line to fight for the WBO belt? I don't know. It'll probably they might elevate Brian Norman to WBO champ the minute that Bud dropped the belts. They probably elevate him, so he will be another. He might be another female champion, kind of just like Jaron Ennis. Same thing. Didn't actually fight for a title. Um, but that will put Brian Norman Jr. on the map, man. He will be right there. Him and Jaron Ennis are on a collision course, man. And their paths, you look like their careers has similar upbringings almost. Like they have almost the same amount of fights. They haven't really fought many top notch competition, but they both knockout artists. They both got punching power, and they are both pretty much going to be email champions. Okay, so the welterweight scene is looking kind of bland right now, but they got some people that's budding up out of the ground. So we got what it's looking like now, man. WBC, Terrence Crawford still holds that belt, with Mario Barrios being the WBC interim champ. The WBA, Terrence Crawford still got that belt, with Imantas Stanionis being the WBA interim champ. Jaron Ennis has the real IBF belt. And then Terrence Crawford currently still holds the WBO, which he will probably relinquish. And then that will elevate, I believe, Brian Norman Jr. to the new WBO welterweight champion without having to fight for it. I believe that's the way it's going to end up. So we will have... back to now, before I get into that, the WBC belt. So Barrios... Bud is gonna probably drop. He's gonna drop the belts, man. It's nothing else. Bud is already. He got his feet planted at 154 right now. He's about to fight Madrimov. Okay, so Bud is fighting for a title. All right, so the WBA. So he is going to relinquish that WBA welterweight. So Stanionis will probably elevate it to WBA champion, the real WBA champ. It would have been nice to see a scrap, Stanionis fight like a Conor Ben or somebody like that. That's the only one I can really see. They got Broner ranked at number 9, bro. How did he get up to number 9 ranked? What has he done? That's crazy. Yeah, he ain't fought nobody, bro. He ain't doing nothing. That's crazy. But I don't think, like I said, as far as Adrian Broner, I don't think he's a threat at welterweight. I don't think that's his division. I think 140 is where he shines at. But it looks like Stanionis will be WBA champ. Then over there at WBC, Barrios is the interim. Bud is going to drop that belt. I would like to see Barrios scrap it out with somebody like maybe I don't know, Conor Ben. Conor Ben is number 2 over there at WBC. Let them two fight for the belt. I'm tired of... I don't want to see no more elevated champs, man. I want to see dudes that actually fight for a belt, man. Vacant belt. So, but, boxing politics. So we're going to probably end up with 4 champs all over again. Just like right now, we got 4 champs at 140. It's going to be the same way at 147. 140, we got Subriel Matias, Teofimo Lopez, Isak Cruz, and Devin Haney. It's going to be just like that at welterweight. We're going to have Jaron Ennis. We're going to have Brian Norman Jr., Amani Stanionis, and Mario Barrios. And out of those 4, the weakest link is going to be Mario Barrios. All right? Now, if it goes like this, we definitely going to see a unification between Brian Norman Jr. and Jaron Boots Ennis, which is going to be explosive. That is going to be a dope fight. I already got my predictions. But I got to, like I said, I watched a lot of Brian Norman's fights. Uh, he totally surprised me with this win over Santine. I thought he was going to either lose by decision or probably get knocked out. You know, because the defense is a little spotty, but he's learning, bro. He's getting there. You know, he is who he is. He fights how he fights, but there's always room for improvement, man. But I can see Boots and him fighting, and then whoever wins that, which I already have a belief on who would win that fight, they go on to fight Stanionis, I guess, for a belt. Just saying, if that's the way it lined up. If Stanionis defended the title and kept winning, you know, I'm going by that narrative. Okay, same with Barrios, but interesting. So this is gonna be interesting, man. I see Brian Norman picking up a belt from maybe a Barrios or maybe a Stanionis, and then I see uh Boots probably picking up a belt from one of those two. I can see it going like a undisputed between Boots and Brian Norman Jr. I can see that happening. Like Boots having two belts, getting one of the belts off either Barrios or Stanionis, and then I can see Brian Norman getting one of the belts off of either Stanionis or Barrios for a welterweight showdown, 2 for 2. Unlike Bud and Errol, it was a 1 for 3. We're gonna probably see a 2 for 2, and boy, that is going to be a banger. That is going to be a banger, bro. For as long as it lasts, that fight ain't going the distance, bro. Jaron Ennis and Brian Norman Jr. is not going the distance, man. But we'll get a little bit more into that in a prediction video. But anyway, you know, let me know what y'all think. Do you think Brian Norman Jr. and Jaron Ennis are on a collision course? Who you see winning that fight when it does happen? And do you think it's going to be a thing where Boots got 3 belts and then Brian Norman got 1, kind of like similar to Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford, or you see it being Brian Norman gets 2 belts, Boots have 2 belts, and they both end up fighting for Undisputed? This is Rebel Life Boxing. Talk to me. Do all that goodness that I like y'all for. Drop them comments and talk to me. I love the comments more than anything else. I love seeing the experience, the engagement on my channel. Everybody thoughts and everything. I love it. And I love sport of boxing, man. You feel me? So I'll definitely get back at y'all on the next one. And I'm off this.